Hello, and welcome to the Nights in the Nightmare Let's Play. This is video 46, covering scene 41. Last time, we fought and killed some random monsters and pushed onward. After that, we saw a cutscene in which Sakito was checking on the barrier that protected the Tiamat realm, when she was suddenly nuked by somebody off screen. After that, we saw another cutscene in which Alier, Princess of the Tiamats, was scrambling to give weapons to citizens and officials. It looked like they were making a last stand. Shortly after that, we the Wisp found Sakito's location, and there she stands, apparently no worse for the wear, with the barrier still intact. Well, she's in our way, and you know what that means. Okay, here we are. We have kind of an unusual landscape to fight in this time. It's going to be a little tricky to land blows, but we'll make do. First off, in the empty slot, I throw in Alonso, a Lance Knight. He's got one job to do. Let's load up some key items. There's only two to deal with this round, so we're going to load them both up at the same time. A silver tiara, for a knight. And Sakito herself, some dragon wings. That leaves two inventory slots. Let's load up some weapons. Here's a Zolfi +4 we use for the rush count video. That can be overcharged, and a knight matches the elemental affinity, so she'll be able to handle that. And this Sanctity sword is for afterwards, once the Zolfi's been overcharged and it's out of play. Now, as far as the landscape, there are these 8 platforms here that Sakito is going to teleport to and fro. The issue is that they're independent little islands, and it's going to be difficult to actually land our attacks on them. Fortunately, there's some splash damage we can take advantage of, but in the meantime, we'll have to make do with what we can. Here's Sakito herself. If you notice, her HP is 15,700. That's not very much more than Peach's was, so once again we have a very fragile boss we're going to fight. The trick is just going to be to land blows. Okay, we have our first round set up. The knight is referring to an archer we recruited. Apparently the bio is that they are friends, but they've been having differences lately. Seems pretty typical for a little girl to want a tiara. There you go, Alonso, that's your one job. Right, we're gonna overcharge this sword and beat on the fence that's near a knight. It contains a key item. There, Sakito has cloned herself, and luckily a knight can hit that one clone because it's straight in front of her. As luck would have it, that's the real Sakito, so it caused the other clones to disappear. That worked out pretty good for us. A knight moved up one space, and now she's going to continue beating on that fence. And notice Sakito herself doesn't really attack very often, at least not now. At this point, there's really nothing we can do anymore. There's no fog in Law phase, so I can't get any gems. We have no more magic points, and I can't hit her in Chaos phase with these knights, so we're kind of stuck. But let's see what happens with her clones. Once she has all 4 clones out, she seems to attack a lot more often. The way those clones work is that we can either hit Sakito, the real one, and all clones will disappear, or we can tap the clones independently, and it doesn't matter how much damage we do, as long as we strike them, they'll disappear. So again, the trick is to actually be able to reach them. So with 4 clones, you can keep yourself busy. I think you guys get the idea. The game's saying, man, you suck. Okay. A knight, good job, you're out. I'm going to throw in Felix, a permanent warrior of ours. I would argue that Johann has better overall stats than Felix, but Felix beats Johann in chaos mode, no questions asked. Alonso, you did your one job, good job. Good job. Francis, one of our hermits, can come in. So let's load up some weapons for our new knights. Some fire daggers for Francis. Fritz is going to overcharge an axe, that devil's wing there, and then of course once that's overcharged and out of play, then he's going to use this sanctity axe. Alright, here's what we're going to do. Francis in the top, she can cover those squares right in front of her, and then that square to the right, lower right. So there's 3 in her path that she can cover. Now the one to the left, the topmost square, she can also hit that as long as she has a weapon charged. There's a little bit of splash damage that'll actually reach it. So a normal attack won't work, but a charge attack will. But for all intents and purposes, she can cover 3 spaces. As for Fritz, he can cover the 2 in front and then the 1 above. So out of the 8 platforms that Sakito can travel to, we can cover 6 of them. And in reality, we can cover 8 if we really try. So we should be able to take care of wherever she lands, if it need be. Yeah, we'll see about that. And we have no magic points, so there's nothing I can do with her sitting there. Francis can charge a normal attack, but that won't reach her there. Only a charge attack. There we go. I'm using our only magic point to have Fritz pound on the fence. 89% damage on that thing. As luck would have it, Sakito lands on the platform that Fritz is going to hit at the same time as he's hitting the fence, so that worked out good for me. And with one blow, she lost about 25% of her health. Sakito's rage move is coming. Kind of a cool one. She calls this Ice Storm. Ouch. Oof. And again, we're out of magic points. With 4.9 seconds left, the only thing I can do is hopefully get a quick hit off. There we go. And clones. Let's see what Francis can do. Oh, unfortunately, Francis didn't have enough time to charge, so that was the end of the round. Okay, we have a good setup here. It's just a matter of putting her away.
Engage.
We go ahead and charge up Francis and put her on hold. She can just wait around. But if you can see, with a charge attack, she would do 1% damage to Sakito on that far platform. Enough to tap her or tap a clone and destroy it. Okay, another blow landed. She's down to, what, maybe a third of her health, and her rage meter is full. Let's go ahead and charge up Fritz. Oh yeah, I already talked to her. Well, Sakito's on death's door now. I didn't want to hit her with Francis. I want to go ahead and let her pull off her rage move one more time. She really pokes around though. She doesn't attack very often unless she has her clones out. And she survives barely. Lucky for me though, because I hadn't given her the key item yet. Francis swings and hits 2 clones, so they vanish. And Sakito reappears with another full set of 4 clones. I don't think it matters which one you give the key item to. There, with a normal attack, she's ruled out 2 of them. We only have 0.83 seconds left, not enough to charge an attack. We'll have to wait for another round.
Engage.
Once again, Sakito's rage meter is full, and I figure, alright, we'll give her one last chance.
It's my turn, eh?
And I slam my face right into it for her. How nice. Good job, guys. At the inventory screen, I didn't do anything. I'm fairly content with where our knights are right now. That may change in the future, of course, but for the time being, I was satisfied with not doing any transouls. And that brings us to the next stage. Looks like some more random monsters to fight off. This next scene has some interesting mechanics. Those tiles on the floor are going to be a little problematic, but nothing we can't handle. It's not important right now, we'll worry about that later. In the meantime, as always, let's take a look at what we just saw. First off, I wanted to call attention to Sakito's death. Yet another death where the person dying is apologizing to somebody. It's another pitiful, pathetic, sad death in a game full of them. Moving on to the flashback, I did want to call attention to the time frame set here. It says, the past revisited the night before the dragon tribe became extinct. Yeesh. Well, okay, we can't really say we're surprised, but yikes. Anyway, it was revealed to us that, yep, sure enough, it was Yelma who nuked Sakito from off-screen. And she makes a comment saying she hadn't seen a pulse like hers before. Remember, Sakito is, and this is in the words of the Tome of Lost Souls, she's a puppet given artificial life. I presume that is why Yelma was able to revive her, although I guess I don't really know. I do want to comment, though, on this scene. When I think about it, I find it particularly well written. Yelma has shown time and time again, when she meets somebody new, her first reaction is always, how can I use this person? And Sakito's no exception. So after taking out Sakito and getting past the barrier, Yelma is smart enough to resurrect her and have her bring the barrier back up, which would of course slow us down. So a really smart move by Yelma. Moving on, we see Algerie, of course, limping further and further into the Tiamat realm. She keeps plugging away, doesn't she? Next, we see Alier in her manor, looking pretty forlorn and saying, it seems this is the end. So she appears to be giving up. She's acknowledging that, yes, her race is doomed. She goes on to say, if it is our destiny to die, we will die fighting, which you have to admire. Finally, we see the Wisp getting accosted by some monsters, and I wanted to point out that all of them were described as invading monsters, which leads me to a bit of a theory. If you remember from the last video, we saw a scene in which the Tiamats were scrambling, and they were arming whoever they could to fight. But now Alier seems to be giving up. I think the implication is that with the barrier down, the monsters were able to flood in and kill everybody. I don't know that for a fact, but that seems the most likely reason why she would suddenly be giving up. But as the Wisp, we don't really seem to give a shit, and these invading monsters themselves are going to get their asses kicked as well. You're in our way, you get steamrolled, no exceptions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.